The Sunshine Coast, northwest of Vancouver. Ocean, mountains, and big trees. There's been logging on this coast since the 1900s. Now, Sccf is a busy service center. The population has grown. Retirees, artists, and families have all come to this coast. The forest now needs to be managed for new values, new markets.
We tend to be planners, and right now we're trying to plan our next 250 years and what the timber is going to look like, both in structure and product.
The fact that we could have control over the resource in local hands and guarantee a certain number of jobs in the forest industry for many years to come was, I think, an important part of our vision. And the community forest is one way, and will probably end up, as we go into the future, the main and only way that we do those things.
And it goes right from a community such as Sccf looking after this forest and making sure it's harvested properly and sustainably, right through to the customers that we have around the world that expect it to be done this way and are happy to know that the trees they get are from a sustainably managed forest like this one.
We started this business 2 years ago with the concept of building affordable timber frame cottages and homes. You can put a mic. We're going up to the forest with the manager and handpick our logs while they're still standing, and therefore we can do selective logging. We hire local people who would like to learn the craft of timber framing. We also train carpenters. The company started basically with myself, and we are now 5 people. And we're also looking now to expand over to the Vancouver Island area and the Okanagan. We believe in local employment and working together with local people.
Our local users, they have an advantage of buying from us, and that advantage is that they can come out to the forest and pick the actual trees that they want, and they can pick it either for form or for structure, and so they get the best value out of the tree that they pick versus going and buying one at a local dryland sort.
Just depends on who the customer is, but sometimes they're so into where the wood comes from that we'll provide them with a map of where it came from, photos, and a story as to the tree's journey.
And what we do is we ask them to go out into our cutting permits and our blocks and actually mark with paint which trees they want. And then what we do is we follow those trees and we bring them to roadside, and we can either deliver them or they come and pick them up. We sell everything at market price. However, the local person's advantage is that they're going to get the trees they want, they're going to get higher productivity, higher value, and as well, they're going to be able to take it to where they want to at a lower cost. So they end up saving money, we end up saving money, and it creates jobs, it keeps people working, and that's one of our key visions and goals, is to maintain some local employment that otherwise perhaps wouldn't have been here. We need to be innovative in providing jobs for our local communities that include high-tech, value-added manufacturing. We cannot use our valuable timber to make 2x4s. West Coast Log Homes is a local company that was started in 1999. And it was 2 brothers that started the company and 1 son. They contact me when they do want the wood. We come into a block and they pick the logs that they want. And it's not only the best logs, but it's also trees that have interesting forms on them. And then we log the wood for them and deliver it.
We didn't cut the tree down for to make paper out of it. We actually created a piece of art and people are happy, and it will be there for many, many years to enjoy.
Their pressure washing system of taking the bark off leaves a nice smooth finish. So you see a tree that they've taken down that has curious shapes to it. They build those curious shapes into the design of their houses. So it's not just straight logs, but there's features there, and there could be a sculpture added to it too, depending on what the customer wants. They now employ about 27 people. They are what I would call a heavy employment or an employer on the Sunshine Coast. And they're a family type of organization. They train their workers on the Japanese way of building log homes.
Like, it's not a telephone pole, it's not a machined log, it's a piece of art when it's done.
We used to take the big yellow cedars before we had the dry sort. Nobody wanted yellow cedar in those days. They couldn't even give it away. So one of my jobs was they would beach these, let's say a 5 or 6 foot yellow cedar, sound as a nut. You had to drill it 3 places and then blast them open to get them in the little mill.
Everything you did was basically a challenge. Whether you were falling a tree, or whether you were building a road, or bringing load logs down, or climbing a tree and topping a tree, every job was a challenge.
Big timber then.
Oh,
Yeah.
There was just forestry, that's all.
I'm taking this old dead and down cedar out of here for split cedar fence rails. It's a small market, but growing. Been laying so long it's fairly brittle. It's far too knotty for shakes or shingles and too cracked for conventional lumber. Basically, we've come up with a product that can take all the defect that's in the stuff and still have a saleable product. It's made the wood easier for me to get because it's set right here on the side of the road. I mean, I don't have to go out into the slash to get it out, and it makes us be able to utilize every piece of this. We're making wages at it, and that's all you can ask in today's economy.
Forests are a mainstay of the Canadian economy, and on the Sunshine Coast they're very important. And that's why we're working with the Sunshine Coast Community Forest to increase the value that we get out of each log and the number of jobs. Logging is one of the fundamentals of our economy, and when we think about value added, when you see that truck coming down the road, it's possible that that truckload alone is keeping somebody employed for 6 months. This operation is typical of the value-added sector. It's small, this one employs 1 person, it could employ a few, and that's what the industry looks like. But put them all together and you've got quite a few people employed, and they don't need a lot of wood. That's the beauty of it. One job can be sustained by just a couple of truckloads of wood in a year.
Our value-added initiatives are a key part of what the community forest is intended to support. What we do is we allow, or we in fact provide opportunities for entrepreneurs who maybe want to start a new business. We'll provide them with access to the best of product for their business, and we'll also provide them with advice and guidance and any support we can. So the intention is to really help build a new industry here on the coast and expand the businesses that are already here.
For the community forest to move into other areas of value added by not only the guarantee of wood supply, but also the funding of those value added industries via the community forest and some of the perhaps dividends and profits that are accrued to the community forest, it's important that we use those sort of economically in a vertically integrated way to not only protect the source but create more jobs with the manufacture of value-added items such as furniture, such as building materials, and such as an example, trusses that can be made with the kinds of wood products that we're looking at, and maybe pre-manufactured homes to look at that, to be assembled wherever where they're needed on the continent and perhaps internationally with the guaranteed wood source, with the employment of locals to create those added industries.
We're actually farming our land, and in doing that we can manage each different areas of our land appropriately. We can use different intensive silvicultural techniques, including spacing, thinning, fertilization,